Alright, how is it going, my magnificent sons of bitches? And we used to do video responses here on YouTube whenever it was fun, the place to be. I'm still sub to a lot of you guys that, I have a rapport with, but for the most part, it's just not the same as it used to be whenever YouTube was cool, hip, trendy, and when we were on the front edge of fighting a culture war and whatnot. Now YouTube goes ahead and they go ahead and regulate themselves for the fucking communists. So I decided I was going to go ahead and start a little YouTube video series and call it YouTube Dumbasses Among Us. And the first dumbass that I have here today is one that YouTube highly promotes as some sort of superior intellect to you and I. So I figured I would go through 2 videos of his, go ahead and debunk them, and explain to you how foolish YouTube has gotten, because this is the shit that they're trying to promote. Anybody who used to go out there, work hard on their videos, work hard on their material, try to present a quality product, those people had to go. And they had to go ahead and turn this over to the Commie-crats. So let's go ahead and see what the quality of the Commie-crats videos are. So this one is, are blue states better than red states? That's what David Packman is going to sit there and say. So we'll go ahead and watch it, and I'll go ahead and respond. I'll do some more of these response videos and whatnot.
That number is 2192 David P. Here's an interesting voicemail. It's a very simple question. Oh, I should put on my headphones so I can listen.
It is a simple question.
It's a very simple question with a complicated answer.
You really think blue states are better than red states? I don't know.
There it is.
He's gonna fling some shit on the wall
blue states
and
are
pray
better
for it to
than red
stick.
states? The question is, in what way? To really be able to answer these questions, we have to define what we mean by better. Do I mean, if you want to talk about economic sustainability, we know that on average, blue states pay into the federal government way more than they get out. And the red states are sort of like the welfare recipients of the states. They get more out than they pay in. So in terms of economic viability, certainly blue states are...
Now, here's the deal. That doesn't determine economical viability at all. Production, resources, that determines economical viability. That little fucking washed up Federal Reserve note that you're talking about, that you pay into so gladly. I got my Federal Reserve note, and I'm going right down to the mayor's office, and I'm going to lay this dollar on the desk, and it's going to go somewhere, and I don't know what's going to happen with it. That's how dumb they've gotten these people dumbed down, in the blue states in particular, dumbed down to the lowest common denominator. That in no way, shape, or form makes blue states. It just makes the blue state people dumber. Because, could you imagine if I was to sit there and argue with you right now? Let's go ahead and reverse the damn roles, blue staters, alright? And the red staters were to come up to you and say, my state takes more dollars from me and gives it to the government, and your state takes more government dollars and gives it to you. So that's why I vote for my leaders. That makes no fucking sense, and it doesn't mean that you are more economically viable. At all. That's a dumb argument. It really is stupid. Basically, your states tax you. I think, what is it, like another 11% state tax? I don't know if that's New York or California. It's one of you states. One of them fucking goofy states that takes more money out of their people. They take more money out of their and put it into the federal government. And they take back, they're saying, oh, well, we just take back less money. To be honest with you, California's economy, really, the pay out there in California, like 3/4 of the economy out in California, which I compare them a lot because they're the ones that are moving out here in a mass number, or we're getting. So it seems like, if fucking red states were as bad as David Packman's saying that they are, they wouldn't come here. But they come here all the fucking time, and they raise up the property rates. It seems like, that, if they were so much better, that they would stay in the blue states. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that way. It's not that way. So we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and go on and listen to what this doofus has
stronger.
to say.
When it comes to innovation, and we look at, well, which are the states that are generating the most patents per capita or Nobel Prizes per capita? Certainly it is the blue state.
And this is probably going to be another lie. He has no real metric to go off of, because we're talking about the Oswald brothers that invented the fucking airplane and shit, because they're from North Carolina. That's a red state. You know what I'm saying? Whenever California was developing the internet at the point in time whenever you had Silicon Valley was really starting to sit there and grow and bringing in all these resources and innovation into California, California was a red state. We don't see this innovation that you're talking about. We don't see these Nobel. We don't, Noam Chomsky? New York doesn't really count. It doesn't really count. The motherfuckers from New York. Alright? It really doesn't. So this is them setting their own bar and then trying to superficially get people to meet their own fucking bar. But this is going to go segue into a great thing that I'm going to go ahead and destroy him on. But we'll go ahead and let him get to that stupid argument.
So in that category, by that evaluation, we would say blue states do better. If you want to rank states by education, on average, blue states have better education, better educational outcomes, more people going to college, better achievement on test scores, etc.
Now, the one metric that the leftists use and the blue states use, because I'm going to tell you right now, California ranks at the bottom every year as far as quality of education. But the only thing that the blue states really use, because it doesn't really matter, the curriculum's going to be the same nationally. Now, you look at the performance over there in the Northeast states. This is, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. Those states are going to do a lot better. Why? Because they're mostly homogenized. Same culture, same people, same curriculum. And, this isn't a white or black thing, but, for the most part, whenever people are coming over and coming in to these institutions and they're already speaking the same language, surrounded by the same cultures, know how to conduct themselves, grow up, it's going to be a little bit different. And the reason why California is so bad, and I was surprised that Texas ranked number 26, which is way higher, but I think what helps us out is our, URL programs in our football schools. So we get a lot more money out here in Texas. Some of these schools look like university campuses, But whenever you look at the struggling California that ranks anywhere from 47 to 49, one of the issues that we have going on in California is you have a lot of people coming in from Mexico, and they can't immediately speak the language. They don't really understand the culture. They don't really understand the curriculum, so they're starting off behind. So this is, of course, going to drag that education down. However, like I said, with that being said, the only metric that they use is attainment. And this is the only way that they're able to get states like California that have these immigration problems and shit like that. That's the only way that they're, because I guarantee you that states like Iowa and, Wyoming, they're going to have higher test scores. They're going to have higher, because, they don't have to deal with that problem of the language barriers. And mind you that I'm not a whole build the wall motherfucker. I'm the work with Mexico motherfucker. That being said, you're going to have that issue whenever they're coming over here illegally and they're trying to go ahead and get their kids into the education system. It's just going to be what happens. And that's why our test scores are going to be somewhat lower. But like I said, Texas is in the middle of the road and California is damn near at the bottom. But you go ahead and go to the blue districts in those areas, and I guarantee you that those scores are going to be lower in their blue districts than they are in their red districts. I guarantee you. But we'll go ahead and go on.
You want to talk about access to and quality of health care. On average, yes, blue states do better. So if you look at average salaries, higher in blue states, higher cost of living.
So if, there yet again, here's the deal, right? Healthcare would be a hell of a lot cheaper if the government would just get out of it, if you didn't have your Medicare or Medicaid. I mean, the access to healthcare is going to be the same regardless of any states. You got your free clinics in every state. We have free clinics here. So this is, there yet again, another lie that he's making up, totally. And those are government programs. Those are not like just blue state, red state shit. They're just universal programs that we have. So, yeah, I'm going to sit there and call you a liar on the healthcare thing, because the whole healthcare thing is going to be kind of the same one way or the other. You know, and, you know, to tell you the truth, if the federal government really give a shit about your quality of life, what the fuck are they doing with this $5.4 trillion that they took in last year? That is $130,000 per citizen living in poverty. Even if they gave, you know, some of these people $15,000, they could effectively change a lot of the shit. You haven't even got so much as a light bulb for a energy efficient vehicle, much less any kind of renewable energy or a cure for cancer or anything. So we see how effective these federal funds and these federal programs are at the end of the day. But we'll go ahead and continue.
Certainly, but higher salaries. Are there metrics that red states might do better on average? Sure, I don't know what they are, but maybe there's metrics like, I don't even know, miles of...
There is a reason why people are moving from blue states. They're moving from New York to Tennessee to Florida. They're moving from California to Texas. You know, there's a reason why nobody's moving to those blue states. There's a reason why you're losing a lot of people. So the sure fact is, I can't think of a metric why anybody would want to move to a red state. And he, at the same fucking time, he's talking about if he's going to move, he's going to move to Florida. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're going to move to a red state. So why, I wonder why YouTube goes ahead and puts these shills, these blue Democrat ass-kissing sycophants up here as any kind of real viable, you know, source of information. You know what I'm saying?
Undeveloped land per capita. You know, you look at places with super low population density like Wyoming and the Dakotas.
And this ends up being the issue that we have here in Texas. And I know that me and Stephen Rose have said this before, but all these people come over, they buy this land up, makes the property value, you get zoning laws, makes property taxes go up, and it fucks up the you know, life of people in red states. That's what blue staters do, really, at the end of the day. They screw up every fucking thing. They're like a damn pestilence and whatnot. Instead of fixing their state, instead of replacing your governors and your senators and, you know, demanding that your state stop taking all your money and then not giving you anything in return, because they've gotten you so brainwashed where you're literally arguing about how they take my money and give it away and then the red states get it. Stop voting for the motherfuckers then. Alright? Then you would have more of you'd have more of your resources. You know what I'm saying? But we'll go ahead and continue.
Montana. Certainly nominally red states, although they occasionally elect Democrats. Yeah, I mean, I think that you have more undeveloped land per person. So if your dream, if what makes a state better for you is that, then you could find those metrics. But the truth is that by the standard metrics, and if you want like a catch-all metric, you can look at HDI, Human Development Index by state. You see that blue states are much closer to...
Which is another plea to authority. Please bail me out and back me up. Peer-reviewed study. That's basically what he's saying. And you know what? I don't give a shit. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up, because this video can't go on too long, and I've got a whole other video here that I got to go over with David Packman, because you're a complete fucking idiot. Now, I went over most of this shit that this doofus, and I'm not going to play the whole video for you because it's much too long. He rambles on about incoherent, stupid shit. So we're going to go ahead and I'll try and get to the meat of the video here.
How did the American right wing destroy the United States of America? There is not one answer. And I've talked about parts of this before. If you go back to my interview with Noam Chomsky, we actually discuss a bunch of this story. But there are some additional layers I want to add.
So basically, the dude is just straight out telling you he's a communist. You know, I ain't got no use for Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, the Nobel Prize winner, is stupid. The sheer fact is that they give these people the platform. And the fact is that ultimately we had the internet come out and people would drop truth videos all the time exposing how stupid this stuff is and how generic and ridiculous the shit is that they're telling you. And then ultimately they couldn't compete. So what did they do? They had to sit there and get rid of the dislike button, shadow ban the hell out of all the original YouTubers and whatnot like myself, and then push us out of the way, and then give it to David Packman here. Because David Packman's an intellectual genius. Whatever. We'll go ahead and go on. I'm about to destroy this entire fucking video.
We have a lot of new viewers who haven't heard me talk about this before, and particularly because next we're going to talk about Project 2025 and Agenda 47, much requested by dozens of you. I finally had time to look at it, and we're going to discuss it. In order to set us up to discuss Project 2025, we have to talk about how we got to where we are. And by how we got to where we are, what I'm talking about is a level of extremism, pride in ignorance, reactionary authoritarian populism. And yes, MAGA Trumpism is certainly a part of that, but MAGA Trumpism didn't just arrive.
Now I'm going to go ahead and explain it. I'm going to go ahead and give you the shorthanded version. The reason why you got Trump populism is because of Obama. That's it. That's all you need to know. Obama's rules for radicals, the shit that he was pulling with the BLM, your LGBTQ all of a sudden got entitled and they started pushing more and more people to be against them, you know, with their rules for radical bullshit, that they've created this dichotomy of the fucking MAGA motherfuckers, you know, and there's nothing that you could say to a MAGA person. They're going to vote MAGA. I've tried, you know, to say that I'm done with all this, you know, State Department bullshit myself. But that's ultimately what did it. Whenever you go ahead and pass a stupid fucking bill like Hillary Care, and then you go ahead and raise up those premiums in the health care that you claim you like so much, well, ultimately this is what's going to happen is you're going to take those 193 people, not 193 million people that you screwed up their premiums on, and you're going to get them to come out and support somebody and go radically the alternative. And you can't get them to understand that, you know, going radically one direction is just as bad as going radically the other. But ultimately, this is what's going to happen. This is going to end up happening. And there's really not a lot that I can say or do about it. Well, mainly because you have me, you know, you took away my main channel, and then you go ahead and shadow ban me. So these videos are not going to get out here, so I don't really give a shit about Project 2025. You know, you get what you deserve, and that's what you deserve. So, you know, you're not going to see me get behind them theocrats and say, Theocrat, you better respect their right not to be hung. Because I'm not going to go ahead and put my life out on the line for people who have already sitting there saying I don't deserve any of these constitutional rights to, I don't know, own one of these motherfuckers. Or, you know, have a right to free speech to this platform or whatnot. You see what I'm saying? So it's not in my best interest to go ahead and support the fucking commies to begin with. So you're going to have to find... I mean, you've already alienated the anti-federalists, you already alienated the independents, the constitutionalists, the libertarians. You've alienated everybody. The rights, the conservatives, and everybody else you've already alienated. And you are basically doing these videos for a very marginalized portion of the country. A base that's so small that, you know, they're watching mainstream media anyways. They don't even have time. This is why you only get 2,000 views per video. And then you get, you know, what, you get about 20,000 fucking sock accounts to like the shit. You know, you have to buy views and subs and shit. So we'll go ahead and go on with the video.
Is out of nowhere, and this is the important sort of trajectory to understand. So the story I've told you before includes probably a starting point around the civil rights era. Now, we could even go back before this, but
this
you know, when
motherfucker
they
has
talk,
no
when the right
clue
talks
what he's
about
talking about.
Going back to the way things used to be, generally speaking, they're talking about the early to mid 1950s.
You have no fucking
before the start
proof
of the civil rights
that
era
that's
in 58,
at all
59.
accurate.
The first step
David.
in all of this, and how are we
Okay.
going to get to Trump from this? Well, we will. The first step in all of this was the rise of the civil rights era in the late 50s into the early to mid
How the
60s
fuck
and the
did
Civil
that?
Rights Act of 1964, starting to generate this idea that the non-white population is getting better treatment. Now, that's not new.
That's the dumbest fucking thing I believe I've ever heard, to be honest with you. More Republicans, which is what you're considering right, will just go off your metric and shit, were for the civil rights. In fact, they were pushing that shit before that. They called them Dixiecrats for a reason. And the sure fact is, the reason why the country went radically right had nothing to do with the civil rights. And the fucking white people were like, oh my God, we need to go ahead and we need, blacks are getting too much freedom and we need to vote for Reagan. Because that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It doesn't at all. The reason why everybody went to the right, everybody went and started voting Republican. The Democrats got us into World War I. They got us into World War II. They got us into Vietnam. They got us into Korea. You want to talk about the right wing being warmongers? Why? Because of Iraq? Because of Iraq too? Because of Afghanistan? I guarantee you we did not lose near the amount of lives and were as unorganized and ill-prepared to go into a war than we were during the Democrat administrations. And they're still trying to get us into World War III. They almost got us nuked under Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? With the Bay of Pigs. With the Cuban Missile Crisis. For fuck's sake. It's not that hard to sit there and say, you know what? We're not going to vote for these motherfuckers anymore. That's it. Why would we vote for you? You almost destroyed the damn world in thermonuclear war. And then they still tried to push that shit in the 80s. So.
They're using it now. But that is not new, and that goes all the way back to the Civil Rights era.
Was it? Really?
That and antipathy about so-called welfare queens and lazy immigrants just handing out living off of the government dole.
Oh, don't get me wrong, that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? And that is an issue. That's why your damn deficit keeps increasing, is because of all these social programs. And most of these social programs were put in by FDR. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but most of them were put in by FDR. I guarantee you most of them were put in by Democrats. Now, you did have some put in under the Nixon administrations and whatnot, but for the most part, they're socialist programs, and then that's why you keep getting deeper and deeper into debt and whatnot, because when you create a government job, it comes with government pensions, and it expands the economy. I've went through this time and time again. That's an issue. But David will go ahead and say it's just welfare queens, people getting free money for generations, and that's not going to be highly conducive to your fucking society. But we'll go on.
Got us to Reagan. Reagan used many of those stories in campaigning. The welfare queen with the Cadillac who was popping out kids.
Reagan kicked the shit out of Carter. Absolutely kicked the shit out of Carter. And ultimately, I'm pretty sure that Nixon was probably the greatest president in our fucking lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Now, I never lived under Nixon, but the shit that Nixon did, like get us out, improve relations with the commie-crack countries and shit. He improved relations with the Soviet Union. He improved relations with China. He, ended up bargaining and trading with them and helping them out with their economy, which just shows you that his, he saved probably the fucking world, to be honest with you. And the sure fact is that he was highly successful in his administration, where he won, why the fuck would you have to sit there and spy on a party that you just beat 520 to 17? You know what I'm saying? The Democrats were not in any threat. I mean, like, you know, Nixon destroyed the candidate after Johnson because Johnson wasn't going to run for re-election because Johnson knew he wasn't going to win re-election. And then you had 4 years of Carter, and then Reagan destroyed Carter in a landslide, and then he destroyed Mondale in a bigger landslide.
To get rich. That story, that woman, by the way, didn't exist.
And it just shows you that the Reaganomics work. You know what I'm saying? People don't vote, you know, 525 to 13, like Reagan beat Mondale. Embarrassing. You Democrats are just absolutely embarrassing, you know. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's got totally destroyed, absolutely fucking raped, which we don't say that Reagan raped Mondale. We say that it was a struggle cuddle. You know, he gave him a struggle cuddle. That's what fucking Reagan did to Mondale. And so, you know, it's funny that, you know, those tax cuts, they worked. You know, and ultimately, the Democrats are nothing but fucking warmongering motherfuckers. So no, it had nothing to do with the civil rights at all. It had nothing to do with the civil rights at all.
Specifically, anyway. Those civil rights antipathies led to Reagan and Reagan's rise and a significant...
You ever see fucking Reagan handing the football to the Washington Redskin wide receiver, you know, Ricky Sanders? I'm pretty sure that these motherfuckers were not white supremacists at all. You know, you could sit there and say that they are conservative, but they're not white supremacists. You can't say that. You can't even point to something that would make me think that this man is a white supremacist. But that's what they have to run on. And this shows you how dumbed down they've dumbed down this platform with people like David Packman here.
Sort of stupidization of the American right wing. That eventually got us to Bill Clinton's defeat of George H.W. Bush in 19...
Now, I want to make one thing perfectly fucking clear. I didn't like the NAFTA. Bush was going to run with the NAFTA. Clinton was going to run with the NAFTA. However, I guarantee you, Ross Perot jumps in the race. He was actually a more physical conservative than George Bush was. And he took, what, some 18% of the votes? Some ridiculous number. And those votes would have went, it was 18 million votes. He took 18 million votes across the country, all together, right, away from Bush. Those people were probably, if it was me, which I voted for Ross Perot, but I voted for him in the 96 election. I didn't vote for him in 92, I was too young to vote in 92, but I did vote for the motherfucker in 96. And I was supporting him in the 92 election. I would always have debates with my history teacher about Ross Perot versus Bill Clinton and why Ross Perot I thought was the better choice. But it is what it is. But I was supporting Ross Perot. But I guarantee you that if I wasn't, if I was a voter, at the time I was old enough to vote, and Ross Perot wasn't in the election, I would have voted for George Bush. That's who I would have voted for. I can guarantee you that 99% of the motherfuckers that voted for Ross Perot would have voted for Bush. They would have fucking held their nose, but they would have voted for Bush. So, you take a look at those numbers, right? George Bush would have beat Bill Clinton worse than he beat Michael Dukakis, which was a landslide victory. And in fact, they had to run Ross Perot again because the margin between Bill Clinton and Bob Dole was razor thin, you know. So that's how bad the Democrats were. The Democrats didn't really become a thing. They didn't become a party of the democracy until Obama. And then you lost that pretty fucking quick, but we'll go ahead and go on.
92, and this brought out yet another rise. How is this southern white governor, Bill Clinton, going to do us so wrong? Even though, in retrospect, many of the things that Bill Clinton did were certainly relatively moderate by modern standards, certainly no progressive by 2023 standards.
A lot of the shit that happened was set up under Clinton. led to the 2001 collapse, and furthermore, a lot of the shit led to the 2008 collapse. You know, ultimately, Bush tried to stave off a lot of it. Junior Bush, not Daddy Bush.
The reaction to Clinton in 92 led to a major victory for Republicans in the House of Representatives in 1994.
Which was a good thing. That's how he got a
Gingrich,
surplus.
sort of the first
That's how
Clinton modern style.
That's how
right-wing
Clinton got his
Republican.
surplus, is by
really
having
coming to power, Newt
conservatives
Gingrich
in charge
Speaker
of the
House.
economy.
And at that point, we saw a true, they love to talk about the weaponization of government against people you disagree with. Newt Gingrich's 1994 House of Representatives.
No. Shut the fuck up. Because you can't say that after what your party did to Nixon, alright? You can't say that. With your Nixon shit where you rigged the institutions. Oh, he was breaking in and stealing secret documents. I don't believe you. I'm just going to sit there and say you have a history of lying, and I'm going to call you a liar. But we'll go ahead and go on.
Is probably the first really good example of a Republican Party, or any major party, happen to be Republican Party, determined to weaponize every tool they have against.
So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up because, as you've seen, my battery's about to die on this. But I'm going to go ahead and respond to it in kind. What happened was the Democrats ended up causing 3 major conflicts. Most of your recessions are done by Democrat policies. If you get rid of a lot of these social policies and stuff that the Democrats have implemented, not to mention that they federalized the government, they federalized your dollar, and gave you this fiat currency that they've somehow inflated. But if you got rid of a lot of these social programs, you went ahead and, backed your, a dollar by some sort of means of production, maybe some gold, maybe some oil, diversify and shit, you would probably be doing a lot better. If the government would stop taxing people and having this arbitrary tax, you'd probably be doing a lot better. If government had less investment into your life, you would be doing a lot better, to be honest with you. But the sheer fact is that you didn't get a populist president until Obama, and I will say that Obama was the left-wing's communist, proxy, populist president. But he quickly lost favor whenever he pushed forth Hillary Clinton's policies, which pushed all the people, it pushed a lot of people that are, you would consider normies that pay tax, have to buy insurance and shit, that when their premiums go up and they're not getting their medication that this motherfucker claims, oh, they all get all this access to some of you people don't need the fucking access. If you can't go to the damn doctor, just, it's absolutely fucking insane. The healthcare would be more affordable if the government would stop messing with healthcare. And that's not even up for debate. There's, I have a whole healthcare policy that I could go ahead, and David's not going to be able to respond to it or debate it at all. But no, you got Obama. Obama pulled his rules for radicals. He made everybody outraged. So you started to have normies start to migrate that way. But what ultimately killed the Democrat Party, and this is the death knell of the Democrat Party, and what killed any respectability in that party, even from your socialists that thought they were going to get free shit, that you've conned for years, because they never get free shit. They take in $5.4 trillion of your check, and how much have you gotten out of it? That just tells you all you need to know. Period. So, when you decided to run Hillary Clinton, well, all these socialists that were Bernie bros supported Bill Clinton. That's what happened. Most of these people who were left of me that were diehard Bernie bros, a lot of them are, now the MAGA motherfuckers, who, by the way, I'm not supporting Donald Trump, but are diehard, let's go with Project 2025. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get that theocracy that I told you about. You're going to get Project 2025. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I'm not going to play any more of this clown's video. It's all stupid banter. That's all he can produce. But this is what YouTube's going to. So you people tell me what you think of this clown David Packman. You like, sub, do the shit the internet tells me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.